good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to What's the Point, where we have discussion with mission-driven entrepreneurs to find out how that drives them forward, where their motivation comes from, and of course, learn some key nuggets from them. And my name is Andrew Miller from Business Enjoyment, and it is my belief and mission to change the way that success is measured in business. I believe that when we just focus on money, whilst that is important, when we just focus on that, it causes a number of issues and doesn't really get us the success we actually want. If you've not done so already, can I suggest you have a look at my TED Talk, which is very much on that theme, that goes through the challenges and problems and issues that can arise when we just focus on one thing, and an alternative way of looking at it so that we can find a way of being successful and happy at the same time, which is a crazy concept. Okay, so let's move on to today's discussion. And how do I get rid of the thing from the screen? That's the there we go. That's what we needed. So today I have Dancho Dimkov, who is the author of Sweet Leads and founder of BizzBee Solutions. Now let's just get me back up on there. There we go. Now I did actually have an interview with Dancho on my podcast, The Tingle Zone. It came out a few weeks ago, but we actually had our discussion way back in September last year. There's a big gap between the discussion and the interview. So what I thought would be good is to let's have a catch up with Dancho, find a bit more about him so you get to understand it, find out what he's been up to since then. And obviously, as a lead generator, which is the main thing, and running a business that's autonomic, get some tips and knowledge from him here and then. But if you want to have a look at the podcast, do click on the link and go and have a look at that. Anyway, let's bring him on and let's find out what is the point of Dancho Dimkov. And if we just so please welcome to the screen, Dancho.
Hello, Andrew. Thank you very much for inviting me again on the show. I actually always enjoy talking with you. There is always some insights that I can share, but I also learn always from you. So thank you very much for having me.
Thank you for coming on. And as we were talking beforehand, and some of you watching will know, we were planning to have this a few weeks ago, but you got busy.
I got holiday in Niagara Falls in the US, so that's a valid excuse if you ask me.
And if you've got a trip around the Niagara Falls, I'm not going to get insulted by that. That's
true.
Much to do.
It was worth it.
So let's just get into the conversation, find a bit more about you, and then let's just take things a little more. So from your point, Dancho, what would you say your mission is in life? What's your driver?
Well, if I need to summarize myself, I'm the problem solver. I mean, a serial entrepreneur. I actually have started more companies that I can count already. A lot of failed startups, don't get me wrong, that's how people actually learn. And through those starting and fail, I actually found my passion in working with entrepreneurs, with startups, helping business ideas grow into businesses. And it was funny, at that point, usually people stop, but they were like, okay, now you helped us start our business, now what? And then I found my true passion into the second part. Once people started their businesses, they need to start growing and finding potential clients and growing their businesses. So when I need to define myself, I mean, I had a podcast of my own in what is Dancho and what does it do. But in summary, I'm a consultant. I'm an owner of a B2B appointment setting agency. I'm an author as well in the B2B lead marketing and sales area. But my core mission would be actually to help as many as possible high-ticket service providers like consultants, agencies, and development companies to help them actually reach out to potential prospects and get more clients at the end of the day.
Excellent. And you know, there's lots of little nuggets in there, but why is that important to you?
Well, it's funny. There are like two aspects, and I have two internal struggles to put it like that. Is that first, I mean, companies have problems. Like it or not, my business has problems. I'm sure yours has as well. It's just that at different stages. When you're a startup, you have one kind of problems. When you get as a bigger company, you have different kind of problems. even corporations, they have different kind of problems. And when I was working directly with startups and entrepreneurs, it was really quite hard to make an impact. It's like you're helping one entrepreneur or you're helping one startup, and it took us a lot of time. The moment we said, well, let's switch to service providers who are actually helping the companies, the impact has been improved significantly. So now when we work with consultants, with marketing agencies, with software development companies, we are actually helping them so they can actually help the companies. And I've realized that it gives far better impact on what we can do. And the second thing that I wanted to say here is that, well, we mostly work with technical experts, like specialist consultants, developers, geeks. And, they really have some very nice technology or very nice solution that can help a lot of companies. It's just that they're lacking the soft skills. I mean, if you can stereotype, don't get me wrong, a typical geek sitting in front of computer, figuring out the next Facebook or the next perfect solution that can help farmers or that can help other businesses. It's just that they are lacking the skills how to get it out there. And this is actually me bridging the gap, because I come with a very strong background. I mean, I did my master degree in entrepreneurship and executive MBA on management. So I know the frameworks, I know the business, and I have all the B2B marketing and sales experience. So I really found that I click at that stage. It's really hard for a business person to understand artificial intelligence, deep learning, or technical consultancy, that it's really hard to understand rather than even try to sell it. And for me, that's what was important, trying to find an angle that will first have a significant impact in the world by helping the helpers in this case. And the second is bridging that gap with the technical expert or the specialist, that they know they're experts, even doctors, in what they're doing, but they're actually lacking the soft skills.
So you're actually kind of like working like an adapter. So if your specialist is like a 2-pin plug, you convert it into a 3-pin plug for the right.
Well, I just got back from the US, but that's a perfect thing, because I didn't got the adapters and it was really hard. But in short, yes. And it's funny. I mean, Andrew, the adapter part is every time you talk to a different specialist, you need a different plug. Because
Yes.
the output can be US or UK or Europe, but we have a consultant on the deep learning field, or we had like a solar energy consultants from Germany that we work with. And you really need to understand that part of that sub-segment. And don't get me wrong, they have like 30, 40 years of experience in the field. So like it or not, we need to understand that type of plug, so we can then do the adapter part to fit to the worldwide options.
Yeah, absolutely. And that front end bit is where your true skills are. But obviously, every time you're learning, finding more about the other guys. But I suspect there's commonalities, and it's just finding those little nuances that make the difference between those people to take that.
Luckily, the frameworks are there. I mean, it's not like we're reinventing the wheel from scratch. I mean, even on the MBA, we've learned about Michael Porter or Porter 5 force analysis, or there are a lot of frameworks that can be utilized from the 1960s or 1950s or 18th century. And it's just that you need to have the academic background and the business background in order to know which adapter, which framework actually to use.
Yeah. No, absolutely. So if you would speak, if you had, I don't know, your ideal client was listening to this, and I guess there could be a number of ideal clients, but what sort of well, I was going to say a single piece of advice, but you can share as many as you like. But what would you say is like the most important thing that business owners should be thinking of in order to, in your view, of being successful?
Mm-hmm. Well, it's funny. I told you I'm a serial entrepreneur, and I have so many failed startups behind my back. And really, I mean, I started first a marketing agency at 21 for 3 years. I was really deep into the marketing world. Then I actually joined a software development company, so the tech part with front end, with back end, with the technologies. And then I continued with the BizzBee. It started as a consultancy. And the funny part that I've realized that we worked with more than 300 entrepreneurs from around the world. And there was one really thing that stuck out for me, but also when I work with entrepreneurs, it was that how passionate they are about their business. And I know that it's like a cliche. Everybody are saying, well, you need to be passionate about your business and stuff. But for me, it was really from a black and white perspective. It's like when you start a business, there are a lot of problems and there are going to be a lot of obstacles. There are going to be a lot of ups and downs. And when people are passionate about what they do, and that's actually mostly technical experts because they really love what they're doing, you can dig much deeper and you're not going to quit at the first obstacle. Because if you're like, I need money, well, let's do a marketing agency just because of the money. And then the first obstacle will come in and you'll be like, I tried, that's it doesn't work, I quit. While on the other hand, if you're really passionate about marketing and sales, on the first obstacle, you're like, that's a nice opportunity to learn. As an entrepreneur, I know web design, I don't know anything, but I had to learn. So you have YouTube on the one screen, how to do something, and then on the other one, you're actually trying something. And it's funny that if you really love what you're doing and if you're passionate, each obstacle you actually learn, and then you go to the next level, and then you face different obstacle, and then you go to the next level. But if you're not passionate about your business, if you're doing it just for the money, then it's gonna be a really hard world. I mean, at the first obstacle is like, I tried, or maybe you're gonna struggle a bit, maybe you'll get to the third obstacle. But at the end of the day, when you don't have that passion, that fire in you about whatever you're doing, and for me, Andrew, it's really exciting into the B2B marketing and sales. That's my fire. And when I talk with technical experts, when I talk with specialist consultants, really you can see that it's not like, we do marketing, but they actually took stuff to a completely different level. And for me, it's really, I've realized that those are actually the passion people, those that are specializing in a very small niche. It's maybe not attractive to the majority of the people, but for them, that's their entire universe.
And also, and on top of from what you're speaking there, the other thing that comes out of that, it sort of kind of goes hand in glove with that passion you're talking about, but it's curiosity. That's the key word that came out of what you're saying there, and what you like. I saw a statement, something on Facebook or something the other day, and they were talking about imposter syndrome versus self-confidence. And imposter syndrome is, I don't know what the answer is, and I'm going to get worried about it. Whereas confidence is, I don't know what the answer is, but I'm going to damn well find it out. And it's that sort of lighting that fire, then sort of like, okay, great, let's find ways of achieving the thing I want to achieve. There's more stuff to learn and more stuff to do. And I think you've illustrated.
And always there are multiple ways how you can solve a singular problem, and that curiosity is maybe connected to the passion, because if you're passionate about something, you'll be curious, you would like to learn more and stuff. If you're just doing it for the money, it's a really nice excuse. I tried, but the government doesn't like me. I tried, but the employees hate me. It's like, when you have a kid at school, it's like, I tried, but the teacher hates me. And we are like, okay, that's not your favorite subject, obviously, because if you were really like that, it's not going to be the teacher. Nobody's going to stop you to learn about something.
Yeah, I remind there's quite a few people I remember at school that, should we say, stepped out of school at earlier ages, sort of thing, and it was that sort of forced having to learn kind of thing. And nearly every one of them that I met later on found something that they were interested in and got back into education, having left at an early age, because now they were doing it because they wanted to do it. And it's a totally different.
Exactly. Yeah. It changes a lot.
So bring us up to speed a bit. So as I say, when we had our catch up and interview, and as I say, if you want to listen to Dancho's sort of life story and the details about a bit more about what he does, then have a listen to the podcast. But that was back in September. So what's been going on? What have you learned since we had that catch up? What new stuff has come your way with your curiosity? And
well, Andrew, crazy times, crazy things are happening, honestly. But really, when I started thinking about since September, I've realized that, wow, we've made so many things since September. And maybe the biggest thing that I've learned is that, we were discussing on the podcast about the solutions, and we've discussed about, well, from a service, you need to slowly move toward the solution. That was one of the key points. And of course, I go into more details into the podcast. And the other one, a point that we raised was that you need a company that you're going to manage and grow, rather than you're going to be the execution person and all the hats inside the business.
Yeah.
And for me, I actually doubled down on those two things. I mean, I had the freedom to introduce new solutions. And in my head, I thought, like, well, I'm going to write a book. easy peasy, a few months, and there you go. It took me 2 years. Then we're now rolling out an online academy. It's a pre-recorded videos, and I was like, we're just gonna sit like this, talk maybe a few beers, and start transferring all the knowledge. Wow, we're 13 months in it. I still don't see that in 1 month, in 2 months, we should be out there. And maybe that's maybe the one thing that I've realized, because we've launched several solutions, which I'm gonna actually talk a bit later. But I've realized that yes, you need a business that can work on its own, so you can be focused on growth. But even the growth is not a one-man person. Even if you're trying to be I don't know, I'm calling myself now business development in my business, or product development, because I don't do a lot of sales. Operationally, I'm completely removed from the business already, and now I'm focused on product development. So I'm like the crazy scientist with a lot of boards. I don't know if you can see there are 3 boards here, and just catch concepts and frameworks. And what if we actually try it like this, or start reading now books from other authors to get some ideas for frameworks. And I'm gonna get the idea, but then it's hard. I mean, in BizzBee, I have the support, I have the team, so we can do miracles. But for example, for the academy, it was me, myself, and I. Yeah, I pulled 1 or 2 employees from the BizzBee to help me, but I've realized that even the business development, the product development part, there should be a team in the company that is full-time focused on creating new products. And it's funny, that part of the team should be really closely connected with the sales, because they are getting the feedback from the sales as they discuss with potential prospects and what obstacles are around there, and try to create new solutions about it. And they should be also closely focused to operation execution, in order to know what can be done and what cannot be done. And I've realized that I'm trying to do everything on my own. So when I was reflecting that what I've learned, which is important since September, is like product development team in the company can give you a really nice head start when you're talking about competitors. Because like it or not, my day also has 24 hours. And as much as when we discussed in September, I was proud, because I was saying, well, I'm not working in the business like operationally, but I'm working on the business. Well, now the second stage is like, I need a team that's going to work on the business, so we can grow even faster.
Yeah, and I think there's this that concept of having a business running without you, sort of thing, and we sort of obviously is a lot of the focus in the podcast, and you've alluded there. And I think it is worth this creating distinction between not working in the business and choosing to work in the business. So, so a lot of it about creating it is, so you have the choice that if you don't want to, you do not have to be in the business. But because we're passionate about what we do, then we choose to, we can get involved in another area. But then, of course, you're building stuff to sort of, again, give you that choice. And it's all about, you don't have to be there, but you choose to be there. And that's
you're passionate about it. But also, when you choose, you don't have a deadline. You can take a few days off now, because operationally the company is doing fine. And for me, in the product development it could take a few more months extra than planned, but I don't have the rush, except that I'm excited because I want to do new things. But honestly, I did also have the opportunity to travel a lot since September. I mean, in April, I took a 30-day holiday in Egypt, and without a laptop. That's the key thing here. Really to see how the team is gonna do operationally. And now I just got back. I was 3 weeks in the US. And yes, of course, it's good when I'm in the company. I can add some additional advices and some additional help. But I'm confident now in the team that operationally they can continue the company, even if I just retire. Even if I retire at this stage, I know they're going to continue. But I still have a lot of things to do. I'm not still giving up, because we are on the right track.
Yeah, just on that holiday thing, did you build up to the 30-day holiday, or did you just go, I think we're there, I'm off, and then we'll see what problems arise when I come back?
Like that. It was not planned. I was finishing the new apartment. We moved in late March, and one of my employees asked for holidays. He's gonna go in Egypt, and I was like, and you're not inviting me? And he said, okay, come. And me, my wife, and the little guy, the little boss, we called my kid, we were like, okay, let's go to Egypt. We have 1 week to figure out everything, 4 weeks without. And when I came back, it was funny that with the operational management, I was like, okay, how was it? And they're like, it's actually better without you, because when you're around, you ask reports, you ask questions, you complicate things. When you're gone, we can actually get some stuff done. And of course, there were a few fires that were waiting for me, don't get me wrong, but I was astonished because it was like, let's see if the company can survive without me. And I saw that there was even a recruitment process, an interview, and they even hired a few more people while I was gone. So on that level, I'm really proud of what we've managed to achieve.
And what changes did you make once you came out from holiday?
Well, not changes. They were more like, okay, this is a bit scary decision that we need to make. We wanted to consult you before moving in that direction. Or we have, I don't know, a client that was not really happy and refusing to talk with the operation, but want to talk with the CEO. And I was like, okay, I should resign from CEO so I wouldn't be the highest person in the company anymore, because it's silly. I mean, I don't understand that if someone talked to me, it's not like I'm gonna then complain to the operations. They are the head of the company, and then they decide what can be done and what cannot be done. But nothing that can break the company. But it was more on like, I came back end of April, is like where we headed in the next 6 to 8 months and in which direction. So I really love the strategic part, like product development. What are we gonna develop in the next 6 to 12 months?
Yeah, putting into your key skill area, and I just want to highlight the point that there's a lot of people trying to put in systems and stuff into their business and be able to move away, and they're scared to do so. And at some point, you've just got to take the plunge and just go away.
It's
and
scary.
learn.
It is scary. I mean, I'm not gonna pretend. It's like you've built something from scratch, and BizzBee is now 7 years, and you're just giving the keys to someone else, and you know that they're gonna make some mistake, and that is fine, because I'm also gonna make some mistakes. It's not like something that we are born experts and that's it. I'm still making mistakes, especially now with the product developments that we're doing. Since September, we're doing like 3 to 4 products that I just wanted to drop them here. So many mistakes. It's like completely we're going into fields that we have zero experience, and of course we're gonna make a lot of mistakes.
Yeah. And it's just allowing people to do that. And yeah, I wouldn't necessarily advocate going straight for a 30-day holiday. It depends on where you are, but take a week off and see what crops up, and then whatever it takes, because that's the only way you know what's working when you're not there, because it's by not being.
And Andrew, I also wanted to add one more thing. That is that last time that we talked, it was at that time I've realized that, well, if you have a service, you need to productivize your product from a service to create a product, to create a solution. We really double down on that logic. I've realized that we started as an agency. Even appointment setting is a service. It's a tailored. What do you want? We can do it tailored to you. At that point, when we were discussing, we actually said, no, from now on, we have 4 solutions. We talk to you as a doctor. We see, blood, all the medical things, and we decide you need this kind of solution, or we have different pricing tiers that you can choose. But then I've realized that as we're going deeper into selling a solution, we need to have as many solutions as possible so we can actually help different clients with the same problem. And this is where I just wanted to give you some revelation that I got. It was that as an agency, we're done for you. You came, you pay us, we do it for you. But then we say we are actually missing a lot on the done with you and do it yourself market, which is completely different markets. They still have the same appointment setting problem. It's just a different target audience. And that's actually was what we did this 6 to 8 months in that area, because we have done for you agency, which was doing good. We've launched the Sweet Leads, the Amazon best-selling book that I launched. It was do it yourself. Well, if you don't want to pay the agency, you can actually buy the book and learn how you can do it yourself. Or with the done with you part, we've added 2 additional solutions. So I've actually launched the Dancho Dimkov consultancy. So danchodimkov.com now is like a lot of clients are saying, no, we don't really need your agency in the appointment settings. We want you to come into our funnel, see what our sales teams are doing, and fix it. And we're like, well, I am an expert in B2B marketing and sales. So how I'm going to pre-package the solution, whether it's I'm going to give it to you in the form of a book or into a consultancy. And we even added now the academy, which is also do it yourself. Well, if you don't want the agency or you don't have the time for the book, well, if you prefer videos, you can actually go with the academy. they all talk about the same concepts, about the same frameworks. It's like how to get appointments for B2B companies. And the last part that we did, and it did miracles, I mean, Andrew, was in the Done With You, we said, well, why don't we start renting SDRs and BDRs, sales development representative and business development representative? And we're like, we're expert in the field. We can hire them for you. We can train them. We can manage them. So you're actually having a whole team, external team working for you. And the reason why I'm sharing this is not to brag of everything that we did since September. Okay, that as well. But it's more that when you look about B2B appointment setting, our service was really tailored. And then the solutions that we did was really done for you. You pay us money, we actually take care of everything. But then I've realized that there are other type of companies that have the same problem but just need a different solution, whether it's the consultancy, whether it's they need to hire a team, or whether they prefer to read it as a book, or maybe they want more comprehensive long videos that they can see how to do it. So this is what we really doubled down. So instead of having a service, we actually started targeting different market audiences, people that want to read, people that want to look at videos, people that are willing to pay for consultancy, people that already have an established team and need help, or people that just want a tailored solution. So now we're really a doctor. When you say we need to grow, we need more appointments, I'm like, let's jump on a call, because based on where you are and what are you doing, I can tell you which solution is right for you. It doesn't have to be always an agency. So that really helped me to become even a stronger expert in the B2B and sales, because as a consultant, now I have access to more sales channels for clients. As we started hiring teams, I was able to actually create more procedures and processes for tailored to their system. So it was really a crazy new experience for me. We were really a simple agency that was done for you service. We grow it into a solution, and now we expanded it as a main, any company that wants to get appointments and start growing their businesses, we can help them with different solutions that we have on board.
It's because you kind of sort of like you start niching and then expand to create an ecosystem which does all the same things as you say that you've learned, but just does it in a different way, delivered a different way at different levels of interaction. So you've got different price points, different markets, but actually you've not changed who you are.
Yes, it's the same frameworks, it's the same expertise that we have. We just figured out how to pre-package to different target audience. And it's really different, because I've realized even in the content area, as we do with the podcast and the blogs, we do different media in order to reach different target audience. With the blogs, we are usually reaching out people that just prefer to read. With the videos, like we're doing now, some people don't have the time to read, so they just wanted to watch videos. And they're completely two different target audience. They might have the same problem. You just will use different multimedia channels to reach out to them in order to transfer the message. And same with the companies. Some prefer to do it in-house. Other prefers to read about it. Third prefer to just outsource to some external agency. And being able to help all those gives us some very strong synergy. Now we have interesting upsells. I mean, as a consultant, I can see what's their problem, and they're like, well, can you rent 2 people for us in order to further help? And I was like, sure, we can do it like that. Or maybe you can help us. Well, we have the agency. Or we want to learn more about this. Well, we have the academy. So you, as a doctor, have multiple pills to give depending on the feedback from the client.
And I like the bit about when you were talking about the recruiting the salespeople. It was essentially it spotted another problem, just providing another solution, as you say. What problems have my clients got? How do we fit that solution, and how can we deliver that? And it's just keep asking those questions, isn't it? Just keep looking.
Yeah, and that's why I told you maybe on purpose that since September I've realized that even the product development should be a team. It shouldn't be a one person, because it's like a building blocks. It's like, okay, what if we help with consultancy? Yes, but the feedback is now that they need something else. Well, let's add that. Well, what if we do the academy as well, or the book? And really the synergy between them, because there could be 5 different companies doing each of that, but if you have it under one umbrella, the synergy is fantastic.
And again, just to reiterate for those watching, listening, and think about your own practice business in terms of you'll have the core stuff, but think about other markets, other areas, what you can do to effectively repurpose what you already do, delivering it in different ways, create this ecosystem of being able to expand yourself, basically, isn't it, in different ways?
Yes, and maybe that was my main message to all entrepreneurs or business owner is that maybe we're looking things too narrow. It's like, well, I have a software development agency or as a consultancy, and from a development agency you can create few pre-packaged solution, or maybe you can add the consultancy as a separate layer, or maybe you can create an academy, because now, Andrew, with the academy I benefited a lot. Now when we do recruiting, we're like, perfect, now go through the academy and that's it, rather than training everybody from scratch. So we started using it for our own purposes. So if as a consultant or as a business owner, you can consider what is the key problem that you're solving. For me, is business growth and appointment setting. And then you can start seeing it through different eyes. Well, if someone wants to learn about it, you can create an ebook or podcast or different kind of content. If someone wants a consultant, well, you can create new solutions around it. If someone wants to fully outsource, then there are a lot of additional opportunities that when you combine them, you really have a strong business.
And it reduces risk as well, because you're diversifying. So because you're now broadening the markets you work with, then as things change, as they always do, you're more flexible and can push one up and reduce an otherwise necessary whatever crops.
Diversify is exactly what happens, Andrew. And at the beginning I was scared, because if there is no synergy between the diversification, like now I should start a farm and then do some solar energy, then your energy will deplete, because you're focused on two unrelated things. But with the synergy, the things that I learned through the academy, I can share it on the podcast. On the podcast, I can give it to a client, or the client, if I see that he is lacking some knowledge on B2B sales, I can redirect them to the book or to the academy. So you are becoming even a better specialist at what you do.
Yeah, perfect. That's brilliant. It's a very wise way of approaching business.
It was not planned. It happened. That's why I'm now reflecting on it. And when you said, well, what happened since September, I was like, wow, we actually launched the book in September. In January, the full-time employee project where people can hire. In March, we've launched DanchoDimkov.com, the consultancy. The academy was supposed to be live by now, but yeah, I also wanted some holiday. But in 30 to 60 days, I think that will be live as well. And as I was reflecting before this live event, I was like, really, the product development is something that can stabilize a company. And I wish I planned this in advance, but now if I reflect, it's a really nice strategy for any business owner to say, well, if I have an academy, whether I can add an agency, or if I have an agency, whether I can add an academy or a consultancy, it strengthens and diversifies, which is really key, because sometimes you have a lot of work on one service and zero on the others, while others, so you can at least stay afloat longer.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you for that. So we're sort of pretty much coming to the end of this little chat. Is there anything specific you want to get across, or you want to mention about what's going on, or some things that are happening in the future? Anything you want to bring in before we go?
Well, I really encourage people that after they see this live to go back to the September podcast, because I'm sure then I was also with some crazy ideas. We're going to conquer the world. But yeah, the passion is something that really drives us ahead. And maybe, Andrew, in 12 months, we should actually re-meet again and like, okay, now what happened? And I was like, don't ask. We started with a solution, but then we figure out we're going to move into the software world, and we actually created a software. But honestly, it's an exciting time to be part in the business world, because everything is turbulent. And for most people, that's really scary, because turbulence means that things are changing, new trends are approaching and everything. But if you really are passionate about what you're doing, the turbulence is really giving us new business opportunities. Whether it's going to be like, as I said, well, we're now really doubling down on the appointment setting. And I was like, at one point, you know what, we are really good at appointment setting, but we still haven't done anything about adding a solution that will be closers. Because we reach out to cold prospects, we nurture them, we qualify them, we bring on the meeting to the client. That's my ecosystem. And I was like, well, we can actually create now a second ecosystem with the closers. We can have a book on how best to prepare for the meeting, how to create a proposal, how to close. We can do an academy. We can create a done-for-you solution where you can hire closers for us per appointment or whatever is the stage. And then you're actually building a second ecosystem. But again, it's complementary with the first one, because if we do a great job at the appointment setting, it's logical that people will say, well, you know what, you should continue with you in the closing part. And that really affects even the customer lifetime value.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to get it into the numbers, but when you really solve some problem and when you know how to solve multiple problems, it's logical that the client wants to stay with you for longer time. It's the customer lifetime value and the lifetime cycle. It gets far more than just having a simple service.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And yeah, I mean, if it's someone that doesn't enjoy sales and marketing, you kind of just want to turn up and work with the person that you want to work with, or do your job, don't you, kind of thing. So the more you can offer that just takes that away from them, the better, because then people can focus on the thing they're best at.
True, and that's why, I mean, I really enjoy this kind of business talks, because I don't think that all of the entrepreneurs and business owners are ready to listen to this kind of stuff. So I'm really happy, Andrew, that you have an audience that you can share your thoughts, because last year, 13 months ago, I've started my podcast, the Sweet Buzz, and it really helps you to reflect on what you're doing and how you're doing, and really, like, instead of paying for a psychiatrist, you can just go to your podcast and start brainstorming or telling about what's going on. And I really believe that, yes, listening to this kind of podcast and live events will help you not change your mind, but give you different perspectives, that things that you haven't thought about before.
And you've illustrated beautifully in terms of how you got to where you got to, and all the things you're learning, is that there is no one way of doing anything. You've got to go out there and do stuff, get messy, try things out, and then reflect, see what works, move it forward. And everything you've described over the last sort of 12 months has been about that. Of, we've just done stuff. It's only when I've looked back I've realized what we did.
Well, we listen to our clients, we adjust to the feedback, the agile approach. If more than 5 to 10 clients saying we want this service, well, we are actually doing that service. It's very simple. You already have a market for that, rather than thinking something that will work or not.
Yeah. I assume your podcast is accessible through your website. Is that a fair assessment to make?
Yeah. The podcast is...
You go to to my podcast, the Tickle Zone, say links already in there. I put in there all of Dancho's links to website, link to book, link to social media profiles. If anyone gets in touch with you, I'm sure you're more than happy to have a chat with them. If you've got any questions that's come out of this, or stick them in comments on the social media platform, whatever necessary.
And on the book, I think it's really the best starting step, because we have it published in the UK. So there is a print version, there is a Kindle version, there is a audio version, because again, different target audience have different preferences, and it's a very nice start to enter into the B2B world. And don't get me wrong, I don't know a company that doesn't want to grow. Even if they don't want to grow, sometimes you need more leads to survive, because, like it or not, clients leave you eventually. So you need to have a funnel with fresh leads in order to be able to either grow or even maintain what you currently have.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, well, let's come up back alongside you. Hello. So thanks for coming on, Dancho. Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom, as ever. And again, much more of that in the Tingle Zone, in the podcast. So go and check that out. But yeah, maybe we'll make this a regular event.
Every 12 months, but then we're gonna do it with a beer or something, kind of like, how is life, man? I haven't seen you in a while. But Andrew, also, thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to be here. I really hope that we're gonna inspire some of the audience, and they're gonna start taking action, regardless whether it's with BizzBee, in start thinking about how they can grow their business, not just the appointments, but how they can strategically set up their business so they can have a bit more free time, so they can start productivizing, but also how to control the ecosystem. Because category king, I think, is the right sentence here, that if you're a category king, that then you're the absolute leader on the market.
Absolutely, that's it. And you can find that category, and you can become king of whatever category you want, as long as it's shaped around you and your passion.
Exactly.
Brilliant. Okay, I will let you go. I'll say a final farewell, and thank you once again for coming on, Dancho.
Thank you, Andrew.
And So thank you there, and I hope you've got some good information and some nuggets out from that. And say, have a listen to the full podcast to find out more about him, and keep an eye out for more episodes of What's the Point. We'll be going out again next week, I think, and more interviews with mission-driven entrepreneurs. Thank you for paying attention. If you've got any questions, just stick some questions in the comments on whichever social media platform you're on, and we'll do our best to answer them, Dancho and myself. But other than that, thank you so much. My name is Andrew Miller, and I want you to enjoy your business so much it makes your bits tingle.